What up, what up? It's HMCQ Jai, what out? So, I thought I'd do a presentation with this whole slide thing on this 80 Max banger tracks, but I did it with music and you could barely hear my voice over the music, so I was going to do it quickly by voice. Besides, it went a little bit longer than I wanted to, so let's get right into it. See if I can make this presentation something that piques your interest. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of costs, expenditures, financing, anything like that, nor am I going to go into the details of the investment opportunity, nor how much an investor could potentially make. I'll save that for another presentation or the official presentation, but as for it, this is kind of like a practice just to kind of see if it gets anybody's interest just by merit of what it is. So without further ado, HPQ Jai Wadao is 80 Max banger tracks. What is an 80 Max banger track? An 80 Max banger track is a motorcycle track specifically designed for 125cc sport bikes, naked bikes, supermoto. Now, what makes it an 80 Max banger track and why design a motorcycle track specifically for 125cc motorcycles? Well, what makes it a banger track, first of all, it's not the distance of the track, 1.5 kilometers. That's just a good, nice number. It's the longest straight, 550 feet in this case, which means on your 125 motorcycle, you should be able to accelerate to about 80 kilometers an hour. And that's the longest straight, so that's as fast as you're going to go on the track. Now, that's got a lot of reasons to it. First reason is safety. On a motorcycle, you experience something called speed wobbles, but that's when you either encounter an obstacle in the road that hits the wheel and it makes the wheel go crazy trying to find its straight line again, or rider error when you put too much weight. But that never occurs until 75 miles an hour plus, which is 120 to 125 kilometers an hour. So well under that in this case. See, you reach a top speed of 80 kilometers an hour on this track. And being that it is 1.5 kilometers long, or 1,500 meters, with an average distance of 25 meters between each rider, you can get 60 riders on the track at a time. So that's 80 feet between every single rider, which is more space than you get in traffic, guaranteed. Now, if we divide the whole season into half-hour slots, we get 691,200 half-hour slots. Now, why half-hour slot? Essentially, to rent your equipment, your helmet, gloves, boots, and your leathers for half an hour costs $77. That's how much we'll charge. And same with renting your motorcycle and the whole package there. You get your motorcycle, you get your bike insurance, your personal insurance, and 20 laps for $77. 20 laps at $2 per lap, because at an average speed of 60 kilometers an hour, you should be able to do 20 laps in half an hour. Now, half an hour, $77 for a motorcycle, times 2 is 1 hour. Okay? $77 times 60 people on the track times 2 equals 1 hour, $9,240 per hour. Times 24 hours in a day, $221,760 per day. Times 30 days in a month, $6,652,800 per month. Times 8 months in a season, $53,222,400. But now, remember, it's times 2, because that was a motorcycle rental for an hour. Now we also have to times 2 it for your equipment rental per hour. $106,444,800 per month, or per year. At full capacity, gauging by nothing but motorcycle rentals, laps, as well as equipment rental. So for a total of 13,824,000 laps. If nobody rented a motorcycle, if nobody rented any equipment, if people only bought laps but every lap was purchased, that's $27 million per season, which is far more than the initial investment. Now, what makes the banger track so special, and why should people come ride banger tracks? Well, for anybody who knows how to ride a motorcycle, it's a given. You get to ride a motorcycle on a track, whether it's a 125 or or a 250, a 300, a 400, a 500, whatever the case. You're riding a motorcycle on a track, which means you're riding the way you cannot ride on the road. But for those who are just learning, we'll have track guidelines. Okay. Now, there's a lot to it. Essentially, we have one outside line guideline for new beginners, and then we have the best perfect race line on the track guide for those who are trying to qualify, the qualifiers. Now, these guides will show you when to accelerate, when to brake, when to upshift, when to downshift. I mean, and we all know when to turn, but that'll be on the line. You follow the line. Also, we have an asphalt pad, which we will use for the purpose of training and certifying. For every rider who comes on the track, he must be either an experienced motorcycle owner who is currently riding under license, in which case he can just be certified by taking certification, or a new rider must take the track certification course, which should be easy enough. But as well, we'll offer Exit M1 and Exit M2 riding school and basic motorcycle training schools or training skills school for people who want to increase their game or just learn how to ride a motorcycle better, learn the technology to ride by. Essentially, we can make the certification cost something little like $37. And as for the programs, like typical Exit M1 program, $700 per rider. We got 50 spots per program. We run one program per week. That's $35,000 extra to the business per week. So that is $140,000 per month. Now, what else makes the Banger track so special? There is nothing to collide with. No walls, no barriers, no fences. You're not going to have two parts of the track which run close up together. If two riders happen to go off the track at the same time, they're going to collide. It's not going to happen. We're going to specially design the tracks to make them ultimately safe but ultimate entertainment. Therefore, the whole track will be lined with grass and flowers. Wonderful experience for the eyes. Beautiful place to ride. It'll be fully lit at night. So, like I said, you come in, you could do some night riding, or we'll have a race series where at night there's races. Night events where you want to come in and rent it and put on an event, or put on an event and let people race while you have your event going on, or in case you want to rent the whole track overnight. Further, in the center of the track, there will be a concert stage. So if you can imagine a concert stage in the center of the track, speakers all around, timed to perfection across the whole property, so that when there's riders riding, or when there's a concert, there's riders riding. When there's riders riding, there could be a concert, or any kind of musician can come in and do their thing. You got to rent the stage, obviously, so that's more money. Further, you can rent television videography towers. We'll have strategically located videography towers around the park. So they have a small range where you can move them, but we'll have a few options. So those will be rentable. Plus, drone command stations can be rentable. And the YouTube channels, the possibilities that we could run with a track like this are manifold. No problem. As well, when you're riding a track like this, you're going to want spectators. So say whatever the case. You come in, $20. You can use the grandstands, which has a view of the whole track. Washrooms built in, concessions. You could just come in, $20. You could just watch all day long. Bring a day to just watch the motorcycles. I mean, it'd be fun enough. Now, besides the rental of equipment and the rental of motorcycles, there's also the sales of equipment. Because if you're going to come in and you're going to ride, you might want to save some money by buying your own equipment rather than having to rent it every time. Same with motorcycles. Now, we're only selling 125s, 250s, 300s, 390s, 400s, and 500s. And the reason for that is because, well, that's what we deal with. Also, there's a practicality issue. I mean, if you're a new rider, you should not be on a 600 motorcycle. I mean, some guys like to learn that way, but it's not the way you really want to learn. If you want to be able to learn how to control a whole motorcycle, it's better to start with a smaller motorcycle and use the whole thing up. Than a 250, use the whole thing up. Use the whole thing up. That's kind of the essence of the game here. But we'll sell motorcycles that can be used on the track. We'll sell motorcycles that you can use for the street. Now, pit lane. We want a double-doored, double deep pit lane. And the reason we want a double deep pit lane is because in case we have races, every pit lane is going to be used, but we might still have our own stuff from the track or from the facility that we want to store. So we got 60 pits, which are double deep. So half of the pit, which is double deep, a regular pit, will be used for storage. For example, if somebody buys a motorcycle and they want to buy a motorcycle that's track ready and they want to store it at the track, we could use some of the pits for that. Or in case people want to throw an event where there's food at all the different pit stops, you got options for food, then we could use the pits for that as well. Otherwise, it's used for races or other facility needs. No problem. The pits are there. That's good. Now, also, any racetrack that has motorcycles in particular needs marshals. Marshals are there to tell everybody else on the track when they need to be cautious of anything going on. So, that's a given. We need marshals. But further, not only do we need marshals, we also need ambulance just in case, because you never know. Even on our super safe track, you may need an ambulance. Now, this is the, kind of like the star of the show. This is what makes the facility so special and such an entertaining and fun place to go, because we've got this awesome atmospheric clubhouse, which doubles as a lounge. We've got a storefront in there and a showroom, and the sales office as well as the rental office or insurance office, all inside there, plus a health food restaurant. So you come in, there's couches, there's beautiful plants, palms. You can sit in, you can sit at a table with some friends, drink some smoothies, or eat some nice healthy food before you go out and race. Obviously, there can't be alcohol because this is a racing track. Perhaps we could sell some beer at the grandstands, but every rider that comes in must blow a zero, essentially. Must be able to blow a zero. 0-0. No alcohol whatsoever. Now, the other thing that's so special about this whole plan idea is that it's not just one track, it's a track network. So, we seen earlier that if one track was used to capacity based on rentals of motorcycle equipment, as well as the laps that you ride, that the potential for the business is roughly $106 million per year. Now, if we made 10 tracks, if we made 10 tracks and we only fill the potential of one track, basically we could have 10 tracks and keep one open and still profit in the business, with 9 tracks just sitting there doing nothing but collecting expenses. So it's a multiple track network. We're looking for 10 tracks in the GTA in the next 10 years. And those tracks will be divided 5 and 5. If you're wondering what I mean by be divided 5 and 5, it's because 5 of the tracks are 80 max banger tracks, 5 of the tracks are 100 max banger tracks. And what makes the 100 max banger tracks so special is we're no longer using the 125 motorcycles. There's none there. Now we've upgraded. On the 100 max banger tracks, you can use 250s, 300s, 400s, or 500s. And how do you get to the 100 max banger tracks? Well, you have to qualify on the 80 max banger tracks. Then once you qualify on the 80 max banger tracks, if you want to use the 100 max banger tracks, you got to start off at a 250. When you qualify 250, you can use the 300. When you qualify 300, you can use the 400. When you qualify 400, you can use a 500. See? And when you've qualified all those bikes on the 100 max banger tracks, you have to qualify all the bikes, a 250, a 300, a 400, a 500, on 5 100 max banger tracks. So you qualify your 580 max banger tracks, then you qualify your 5 100 max banger tracks. Then there's one more specialty. One more special thing. The super banger track. What is a super banger track? Super Banger track is a full racing experience. There's no such short runway to limit the speed. This is for completely qualified, fully trained up riders to come and ride a super bike, a super sport bike, or a super bike. Which, again, to do so, you must qualify on every single track with every single class of motorcycle. You can do that. You can ride a 600 or a 750 or a 1000 or a 1300 on the super track, Super Max Banger track. So that's essentially the idea. It's like a video game. Go around, you get your membership, and then you get to ride on any track you want. If you don't have a motorcycle of your own, no problem. Just go in, rent one, and pick your laps. Do as many laps as you can. You can do this as many times as you want as a year. Or if you prefer, you can buy a race bike, a track ready bike, and store it at one of our facilities. And for a small fee, we can do daily transfers. We can take a bike from one track to another daily. So every single track will have a bike going to the other tracks. Yeah. All right. So that's the presentation, the basis, the long and the short. There's so many more details. It's such an attractive investment opportunity because if the business is only functioning at 10%, it is still a 200% return on the entire investment in the first year, right? So that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're talking about to investors, and that's how it's going to be. And just the potential for growth and entertainment and community is phenomenal. As well, the maximum amount of safety you can experience on a motorcycle is right here. All right, thanks for listening. HMCQ Chai, Wadao, Super Banger tracks. One mango needs you.